Hey, so welcome back. In this video, we'll be solving the first Leetcode problem, that is 2-sum. So let's get into the problem first, and here you go. This is the problem. So basically the statement is, given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. So indices basically means the index of the numbers. Alright, okay. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution and you may not use that same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. So the first example, the array given is 2, 7, 11, 15. The target is 9. So the output should be 0, 1 because the element of the 0th index is 0, is 2, and of the first index is 7. So 7 plus 2 is 9. So then we have the second example and the third example. Okay, so now let's get into the explanation of this particular question. Hey, so now let's see how to solve this problem. So I'll be using the same array that they gave in Leetcode, that is going to be something like 2, 7, 11, 15. Alright, okay. So now the best way to do this problem is to use a hash map. Now I'll say why we are using a hash map in just a second. So we'll have an empty hash map over here and our target to find is 9. So we are supposed to find out what plus what in this particular array will give you 9, right? Okay. So let me just draw a line here. Okay. So let me say what will happen first. The first thing is we'll be running an enumerating for loop. So why we need enumerate is we need both the index as well as the element belonging to that index. So it will be something like for I element in enumerate. So in the first case I will give me 0 and element will give me 2. And the second case I will be 1 and element will be 7 and so on. Alright. Okay. So when the loop runs for the first time in the beginning, I'll get I as 0 and the element as 2, right? So the first thing we'll do is register that to our hash map. So in our dictionary we'll have something like 2:0. Okay. So now we'll be setting up a variable sub. So what does sub do? So I'll just be giving you a small example right here. If I say 5 plus 2 equals to 7, I can say 2 equals to 7 minus 5, right? Yeah, similarly in this case, if I say something like 7 plus 2 equals to 9, I can say 2 equal to 9 minus 7, right? So 2 will be occupying the value of sub here. So I'm just gonna be naming a variable sub. So sub will be equal to the target minus the element in the loop. So when the loop will run for the first time, the element will be 2, right? So it will be equal to 9 minus 2, which will be equal to 7. Now, can we get the answer from this? No, we can't. Why is that? We have 2 in the hash map, so we can be sure that 2 is in the array, right? But in this case, element, that is 7, sub, that is 7 is not in the hash map. So we don't know if 7 is in the array or not. So with this, the for loop is ended. Alright. So the for loop will run again. So when the for loop will run again, now I will give me the value of 1 and element will give me the value of 7, right? Okay. So now as I told you, we have to first store that in the dictionary. So it will be 7:1 because 7 is in the first index. So now we'll again get the variable sub is equal to target minus the element, which is equal to 9 minus 7 in this case, which will be equal to 2, right? It will be equal to 2. So now what? Now can we find the answer? We know that 2 is in the array. We also know that 7 is in the array. Why? Because both are in the hash map. So we can be sure that this is a good solution because we know both 2 and 7 belong to the array. So now how do we give the answer? Now, the main reason why I stored elements using their particular indexes in the hash map is because we don't want the answer like 2 colon 7, like that is wrong. We want the index of 2 and the index of 7, but thankfully we have been storing them in the hash map and therefore we know their indexes. So we'll return something like 0 comma 1, index of 2 and index of 7, and that's basically it. We have the answer. So now let's go into the coding aspect of this. Okay, so now let's get into the coding aspect of this and let's see how to code this. So if you guys remember my explanation, the first thing to do is to make a hash map, right? So I'm just going to be naming this hash map, which will be equal to an empty hash map for now. And then we have to run a for loop, right? Oh, let me just cut this off and whoops, okay. So I'm going to run a for loop, and enumerating for loop per se. So for I element in enumerate, and I want this for loop to run for nums. So I will give me the index and element will give me the element of that index, right? So we have to find out sub. So sub will of course be equal to target minus element. So now I want to see if sub is in hash map or not. Now if sub is in the hash map, I can return the answer, which will be, I can return hash map sub, which will give me the index of sub and the index of the current number in the loop, that is I. Now if there are no two numbers which can add up to the target, I want to return an empty array. Okay, so now let's go through the solution. Oh, I forgot to do one more thing here. I have to add the particular element to the hash map. So I can say hash map element equals I. So every time the for loop runs, we add the element along with the index to the hash map. All right, okay. So now let's go through the solution slowly. So first thing I did was make a hash map. Then I ran an enumerating for loop for nums. Then I found out the sub, which is target minus element, right? Okay. Then I have to check if sub is in the hash map. So when the for loops, when this particular for loop will run for the first time, of course the hash map will be empty, so it will skip all this. So if sub is in the hash map, it will return the index of sub as well as the index of the index of the element in the loop right now, that is I, right? Okay. Then I added the element along with its index to the hash map. But let me ask you one thing. Why did I add the element as well as the index to the hash map after the if statement and not immediately after the for loop? So I could have also done it something like, let's say, something like this, right? I could have also done something like this. But why didn't I do that? So I could have done something like this actually. Okay. So why didn't I do this? So let's say we have an array similar to this, all right? Nums 3, 3, target is 6. So let's say we have an array that is 4, 4 and the target is 8, right? So we have only 2 elements in the array. Now both of the elements are 4. So when the loop will run for the first time when the program begins, for I element and enumerate, so I will be 0 and element will be 4, right? Then sub will be found out, which is 4. So sub equals to target minus element, that is 8 minus 4, that is 4. So now if I add it to the hash map, let's see what happens. So I'll add 4:0 to the hash map, all right? Now if sub is in the hash map, so if 4 is in the hash map, return hash map bracket sub comma I. So it will basically return the index of the first element itself as well as the index of the current element in the loop. So actually the same number is in the loop, that is 4, right? So we'll get the return something like 0,0, which is wrong. But we want a return like 0:1, right? So let me just say what will happen. Now if I remove this from here and put this over here, let's see what happens now. Now for I element in enumerate, I will be 0 and element will be 4. Sub equals target minus element, 8 minus 4, that is 4. If sub is in the hash map, we didn't add sub to the hash map yet, so it will skip all this. Then it will go to the adding part, so it will add the element to the hash map, so 4:0, right? Then it will again run the loop, so it will be for 1 comma 4 and enumerate, so sub will be equal to 8 minus 4, that is 4. If sub is in the hash map, so in the hash map we stored the value of sub as 4:0, right? So it will return 0 comma I. The value of I is 1 now, right? Because we again went through the loop to get the particular answer. I mean to get the second 4. So the answer will be 0 comma 1. So this actually like stops the answer from coming as 0 comma 0 or like repeating itself. So that's why we added to the hash map after the if statement. So now let me delete this. Okay, now let me run the code and see if it works all right. Oh, doesn't match any indentation level. What does that mean? I think it's because I left one space maybe. Let's try this and see. Oh, let me put this back towards, okay. Oh, I put it way too inside, that's why. Okay, now it should be fine. And there you go, it's accepted. So now let me submit it and see if they accept the code or not. And there you go, it's faster than 80.77% of Python online submissions for 2sum. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys understood the solution. You have any doubts, leave them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer them. And that's it for this video, and bye.